Hello there, welcome back to Lunar Zoo. Thank you very much for joining me today for episode 2 of our new zoo. I do hope you're having a good day or evening or whatever it is wherever you are. So this is our new zoo where we are concentrating largely on buildings and foliage. So it's a bit of a challenge for me because I'm not particularly good at buildings. I think I'm okay with foliage. I like to think I'm fairly creative with all the plants in the game, but I'm not very good with buildings. So I'm really going to try and challenge myself in this zoo to be creative and to come up with better designs for buildings and more detail on buildings, that kind of thing, using different materials in different ways. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that turns out. It could be a complete disaster, but you don't know if you don't try. That's always my philosophy in life. So that's what I'm doing, giving it a bit of a go. So episode 2, and this is going to be a meerkat habitat. So let's move into the zoo and I'll show you what I've just started mapping out so far. So here's going to be our habitat on the right hand side here. And as you can see, I have picked possibly the most awkward shape habitat to try and do as my first custom building. You can see it's already turning into a bit of a disaster because the pieces aren't linking together very well. So it's a very random shape. It's not an octagon or anything really. Obviously these empty pieces will also be filled with more of these panels. So it's not symmetrical, it's not an even shape. Obviously you've got window panels unevenly spread around as well. The door is in, and the habitat, you can see that's the basic shape that it's going to be. Meerkats don't need a lot of space, so this will be plenty for a little family of meerkats to run around in. So yeah, it's going to be tricky. I'm not going to lie, this is going to stress me out probably because I really have picked a very awkward design to do as my first custom building, but hopefully it will work out in the end. So my idea is I want a path going all the way around it. I want a path leading to each window, and each window will have a small set of stairs or steps, I suppose, just leading up to it. You see that a lot in zoos, certainly in the UK, where they have a window, they have a few little steps just in front for the children to climb up to get a bit of view, because obviously adults are generally a bit taller and they might be able to see in, but kids often can't. So that's what I want to try and do. And then there will be, obviously, the trickiest bit of this build will probably be a custom roof. I'm not really too sure how I'm going to do that yet, but I want it to be a glass roof because being meerkats, they like a bit of warmth. So I'm going to give it a domed glass roof of some sort. And then lots of custom stuff around here, around the pathway that I put in. I want lots of flower beds, probably raised flower beds, I would say. So yeah, there's an awful lot to do. It's going to be quite time consuming, I think, this one, but we shall see. I'm looking forward to the challenge. At least you can see roughly what I'm attempting to do. So without waffling on anymore, I'm going to go away and crack on with a bit more, and I'll be right back with hopefully some good progress. Right, I've moved on quite a lot actually. There's a bit of a jump because I know that this is just such a big project, and the really time consuming bit is likely to be the roof and the detailing around the outside. So let me show you what I've done. So I finished off the actual shape of the building, just filling in these blanks, and obviously the edges were basically impossible to get to match well, so I've used these pillars that just finish off all the points really nicely. So I think the actual shape of the building looks really nice now. Then I put the path in place. So I used a grid here just to build this corner bit here, and then I wanted the rest of it to look quite curved and random. So I decided not to do a step on this front one here, but on the other ones here I did. And it's quite tricky doing these because you have to when you go into the path option, you can adjust, where is it? You can adjust this one, the elevated length. So it's quite a handy tip this, which you may or may not know about. But essentially it means that when you build a path, if you drag it up, Oh, hang on. I didn't actually adjust the length. Bear with me. So this is set to 4 meters. If you put this down to say 0.5, you can see there you can build in much smaller increments, which allows you to build all sorts of cool, weird, bendy pathways like that. So that's how I managed to do these small steps going up to the windows on those 3 sides, and then the path obviously is just a nice curved path going around and up to the entrance there. And then inside the habitat is done. The animals are in. As you can see, there are a little family of meerkats in here, some of them having a little snooze on the hay. So cute, they really are. So this is obviously a deserty look. So as you can see through the windows here, I've terrained it so it's got a bit of up and down, which I thought looked pretty nice. I didn't want to just keep it flat, and I've kept it fairly simple. So some basic foliage, some grasses, lots of deserty looking things, given them a nice bit of water in there. It didn't really work having an actual a pool of water in here, so I thought just a water trough like that worked nicely. They've got quite a lot of enrichments. They've got 2 tunnels, they've got a termite mound, they've got a food stick there. Was there something else? No, I think that was it. So yes, there's plenty of them, plenty for them to be happy with. This tree looks fantastic. I love these things. What is this one called? Oh yeah, candelabra tree, of course. Yeah, really interesting looking thing. That it's the sort of thing I might try and utilise in a different way. I think if you turned that, actually if you put that in water, it looked like seaweed, I think, wouldn't it? That would look kind of cool. I thought also if you put it upside down, it would look quite cool hanging from the ceiling. If you could just see this top bit hanging down, I think that might look cool. So I might try that somewhere else. And I do love how they dig their little tunnels everywhere as well. That looks really, really nice. And then I've just put obviously just a couple of bits of hay in for them to sleep on. So the actual habitat itself is pretty straightforward and basic. There's really nothing too fancy about it at all. It's the building that is the main feature of this habitat. Having said that, I mean, I do like what I've done on the inside, but it is what it is. It's pretty simple and straightforward because they're meerkats at the end of the day. They don't really need a lot. They're happy with what they've got there. So yes, it is coming along nicely actually. This pathway's worked out very nicely. So the big challenge I'm going to have is the roof, because I don't really know how I'm going to do that yet. And as you can see, it really isn't an evenly shaped building. It isn't. You know, it may look like it is, but it's really not. Believe me, this does not match this. This doesn't match this. I mean, these are uneven, so it is going to be a complete nightmare. I'm well aware of that. I have made life very difficult for myself. Obviously, these windows need to have some glass put in, and then all of these gaps around the outside here. This is all going to be flower beds. It's going to be raised flower beds, and I've got an idea for a nice custom edge that I want to do around all of these. And then again, what I won't be doing is doing work on the outside of the pathway, because again that will wait until I know what I'm doing in these other areas. So with all of my builds in this game, or in this zoo I should say, it's going to be the building itself and the immediate area that gets done, and then the outside areas will get forgotten about until I fill them in with other habitats or gardens or whatever it is that I choose. One other thing, I did just put all my standard facility buildings in over here, and at some point soon I will just build a bit of a building over that. I would say a generic building, but it won't be. It will probably connect onto this entrance here, and I'll try and make it look as nice as it can be. But for now I'm focusing on this thing because this is going to require a lot of attention. So I think I've probably talked for long enough, because I'm clearly putting off building this roof because it's just going to annoy me probably. So I'm going to have to go away and get on with it now, aren't I? So let's have a go, shall we, at the roof, and I'll be back in your time. I'll be back in a few seconds. In my time it may well be days, but we shall see. So I'll be right back. Right, well, it's coming along, it's getting there. Let me explain my process here. So the first thing I did, I needed to smarten up the top, so I used these lovely grey concrete beam pieces, and I just created a proper edge all the way around the top, just to try and really get the shape organised. And then I knew I wanted a roof of glass, but again, it's not as easy as it looks, because I wanted it this shape, but you don't get the right pieces, or I couldn't find the right pieces to get this corner looking particularly right. So this, let me see, how did I do it? Yeah, so these two pieces are overlapping. So you've got the simple, that's all just simple pieces at the top, but then to get this bottom bit looking right, I used two of these pieces overlapping as separate buildings on each side, and then there wasn't a piece that would fill in this gap here, so I've just used these planks of wood, and I've just off coloured some of them just a little bit, as you can, I think you can just about see there. I don't know if I like this yet, I haven't quite decided, but the basics of the roof there I do like. I like the shape, I like the look of it, so it's coming along. Now I have just put these flower pots on here and these hanging ones here. I don't know if I like any of them yet. I'm pretty sure I don't like these ones up here. I might keep this on the side here above the door. Not too sure about these long ones. I don't think they quite work. I don't think that one works, and I don't think that one works. These ones up here certainly don't work, so those will disappear. But I don't know, I feel like I need something in front of this area here. I don't think that quite looks right. You know what, I have just had a thought actually. I'm probably being an idiot with these pieces, aren't I? Let me just come in here and see something, because I just realised there are these glass pieces. There are these pieces, aren't there? I bet you that's what I need. Yeah, look at that. That's what I needed to use, wasn't it? So if I'd gone, yeah. So okay, so the piece does exist, and I didn't use it because I'm an idiot. Yeah, so that piece would have slotted in there, and then you just have one straight piece there. Oh dear. For some reason, when I was building it, I couldn't find this piece. It wasn't grabbing me and saying, "Yep, this is the piece you need." But hey ho, you know, I do like to make things difficult for myself, don't I? What an idiot! What an utter idiot! Never mind. And I haven't quite worked out what I'm doing with the top piece yet. I like the idea of a point, but again, there isn't a piece that actually works. So this was an original piece that I tried, but obviously it's not the right shape because it's what is it, octagon? Yeah, octagon. And obviously this is square, so that just doesn't work. So it may just be a flat piece of glass that goes in the top here, potentially. And who knows, I might redo these side bits, but I kind of feel like now that I've put the effort in to get these pieces here that overlap, and then all these wooden slots down the side, I kind of feel like I want to stick at it now, even though I've realised what an idiot I've been. I don't know. Let me go away and ponder on it for a little while and see what I can come up with next, because at the moment it certainly does not quite look right. So yeah, I'm going to go away and do some more work and be back once inspiration has hit me. Right, so I have kept the wooden slats behind here, and the main reason I did it was because I wanted to use some ivy, and I kind of like the idea that the ivy has specifically been grown to go on the wooden panels to cover it up. And I love the look of this ivy, the way you can manipulate it. So I've got a piece here going sideways, and then I've got a piece here that's it's growing along the grass and the glass, and then it's growing along the sides here as well. So I've done that on all of the sides, I think, just about to different degrees. But yeah, I think it looks really nice like that. You know, this piece here is stretched all the way over here. I think it looks really good. I love having it like this, so it looks like it's really growing up over the glass. I have also put the square piece in the top there. That was the decision that I came to. Now what you'll notice I've always also done is add another layer here of this concrete, and the reason for that was that it just needed a bit more height. I think when I zoomed back to this sort of distance, without this extra layer in here, the roof just looked a little bit too short, and I didn't want to just extend it as as glass. I did give that a go, but it didn't look too good like that, so I've gone with the extra layer of concrete, specifically a different concrete to this layer here, because I wanted it to stand out and to really look like a separate piece of the structure. So you get the layers, you get a layer of brick, a layer of dark concrete, a layer of light concrete, and then a layer of glass. And I think it looks okay. I mean, it's not perfect, but not everything I do in this zoo is going to be perfect, because I really am experimenting and I'm stretching my abilities as a builder as well. So not everything is going to be perfect, I'm afraid, but that's life, isn't it? So the flower pots on the outside, I decided to keep some of them, these ones, and I'll put my favourite pink flowers in. So you've got two in there, so you've got one sticking up and then you've got one sticking forwards. I think they look okay, but they look better once they're integrated like this. So you've got the ivy, and then I've used these lovely metal panels again here to fill in these gaps. And as you can see, there's going to be flower beds in front of them. So this is my custom edging that I'm doing here. So again, these are these simple stone beam pieces just sunk into the ground, nice and random, up and down, all the way around the edge of the pathways here. So they will continue around this piece and around this piece and around this piece. And then I will fill in the gaps with soil and plant them up with some nice colourful plants. Certainly in these bigger ones there might be some sort of tree or larger shrub in the middle. And I think that's going to look really nice. Still need to do a bit of detailing around the windows. Not too sure if I'll be filling in any of this space here or not. That might well stay like it is, because I've got a bit of an idea of what habitat I'm going to do here, and it's kind of going to blend into this corner here as well. But yeah, I think it's coming together nicely, really. I mean, for my first attempt of a new looking building, I'm pretty pleased with it at the moment. I think it's looking okay. Yeah, as a first attempt of a weird shaped building like this as well, this has been a real challenge to get it all to fit. As you can tell from the inside here, you've got all these beams at slightly different widths, and that's because it's a random shape, you see. So I've tried to make it look as even as I can on the inside, but it's not always possible. But yeah, so there we go. So still lots to do, lots of detailing around the outside. The building itself is almost there probably now. Maybe a little bit more detail here and there, but on the whole, it's kind of where it's going to go now. But anyway, let me crack on with some more of this this outside work, and I'll be back in just a minute. This habitat is really starting to look like a proper habitat now. So you can see I've finished the flower beds around the outside. Obviously I've not filled them in, but I've finished the structure of them with this custom edging, which I'm really happy with actually. I think it looks really nice, this edging. And I filled them all up with soil. I've also put some benches around the outside and coloured them green, same as the bins as well. I really like these benches. I love the fact that you can recolour the tops of the bins and the benches here, so they can kind of match any theme really, because they're pretty basic benches, just a bit of wood and a bit of stone and a little bit of metal work. So I think they could go in most different sort of areas, different themes. So yeah, they're really nice. I like them. And I've also detailed the windows. So I built a really basic white wooden window frame, so that goes all the way into the inside. And then just this simple layer of glass. This is one-way glass. You can just about see out of it, but not too much. So the animals on the inside wouldn't really feel like they're being watched too much, hopefully, because it's a bit tinted from the inside. And as you can see here, there are some ventilation systems. There's one there, and one there. and I've connected them on the outside, roughly on the outside anyway, so they're not exactly, because obviously that's on this pillar here, but there could be some pipe work going through the bricks. So you have a vent on the outside here and here. Just a little touch like that. I like a little bit of detail, because obviously this is essentially a greenhouse. In here there's not a lot of ventilation. You've only got the opening in the door here. I think that is, yeah, there's no glass in that, is there? No. Yeah, so there's not a lot of ventilation, so I felt like it would need some. It'd be really nice if they created some of these roof panels with windows actually. So you had the option, for example, on this panel, if they could have a window in it that was open, or even a window closed as well. I think it would be a nice little detail for them to add, because if you're building a greenhouse, for example, greenhouses are covered in windows, and as far as I know in this game there aren't any pieces that have windows built into them, whether they're open or closed. So that would be a really nice detail for them to add in at some point in the future. But anyway, I decided I wanted some ventilation, so that's why these ventilation units have gone on the walls here, to keep the air inside for the animals nice and clean and clear, and you know, fresh for them. We all like a bit of fresh air, don't we? So that's that, and then I have just put one information board on the end here, a very simple little beam surround to it. It doesn't need to be anything fancy, and I also have added a few vents along the floor, just some drainage vents there, and then again at the bottom of these steps. Oh no, I didn't do it on the steps. I thought I had. Okay, no, I will probably do that at the bottom of the steps as well. Yeah, no, I was going to do it and then I got distracted by something. So yeah, so I think I'll probably do these vents in a few other places as well. Again, it's just a little detail, but it just adds an extra layer, I think, to the habitat, which I kind of like. So yeah, there we go. So now I've got to work out what I'm going to do with these flower beds. I think I've got a basic plan in mind for them. And then the habitat is kind of done. So we're not too far off now. I think probably just a bit of decoration and we'll be finished. And I think it's looking okay. It's yeah, it's a bit different, isn't it? It's good. I like it. Yeah. But let me finish it off, and then you can decide for yourself what you think of it. Right. So I've kind of broken my own rule here. If you watched the first episode, I talked about having a limited number of plants in a flower bed. If you have too many, it can look a little bit messy and jumbled. So you want to stick to sort of 3 or 4. But I've ignored that for these beds, and I have put quite a few different plants in them. And I don't know why, it just works better. I tried initially with just using a couple of plants and then these sort of feature plants, and I don't know why, it just didn't look right. It needed more, so that's what I've done. You know, it is what it is, but I like it. I think it looks really nice. So you've got a whole variety of different plants, and then you've got this sort of feature plant. This is called, in the gardening business, this is what you call a dot plant, purely because it is literally a plant that is dotted. And it draws the eye. That's the idea. It's like a centerpiece to a flower border. So you get all the lower plants around the outside, and then you have this tall plant sticking up out of the middle, and that's called a dot plant because it is just a plant dotted in the middle, but it is your feature plant of the flower bed. So obviously over here you've got this beautiful lipstick palm, so that's your dot plant in that border, and then again in this one here, and in here you've got another one of these little lobster claws. So yeah, so that's oh yes, and you've got a fern over on this one here as well. So there you go, you've learnt something new today. When you have one big plant in amongst smaller plants, the large plant is called a dot plant. There we go. I like to educate you just a little bit. I don't know a lot in life, but whatever I know I will share with you, even if you don't want to hear it. So there we go. I think that's looking really nice actually. I'm very pleased with how this has turned out. Oh yes, I did put my little vents in the ground on these stairways as well. Yeah, I think this has turned out actually just I want to say better than I anticipated. Maybe it's turned out how I anticipated, but probably better than I expected, if that makes sense. Because I really did think I was going to struggle, certainly at the start with the when I was doing the structure of the building. I really thought I'd given myself a bit too much to do. But I think in the end it's turned out okay. It's not perfect, it's not brilliant, it's not a masterpiece, it's not going to be winning any awards for design. But for my first attempt at a very random shaped building, I'm very happy with it. I'm certainly happy with the outside with these lovely raised flower beds, and actually inside the habitat itself the meerkats are happy. You can see them well. I think if you're standing at these windows you've got plenty of opportunity to watch them running around and playing, as you can see them doing in there. So yeah, so I am very, very pleased with how this has turned out. Yeah, so there we are. That is our first habitat for Lunar Zoo. So let me just show you the zoo. I'm going to try and do this at the end of each episode and sort of zoom out and give you an overview, and then we'll be able to really see how the buildings are progressing as we start spreading out more into the land. So that's gonna do it for this episode. Please do let me know what you think, good or bad, or if you've got any ideas of how I could have done it better. Please do let me know, and thank you very much for watching. Next episode, I can tell you, is going to be here, and it's going to be... Ooh, hang on, let's think. Am I going to spoil it for you? Yeah, let's spoil it. Let's give you a teaser. It's not a spoiler, it's a teaser. It's going to be aardvarks, and I have an idea of what I want to do, and it's going to be in this area here. And that's all I'm going to say. So aardvarks are coming to Lunar Zoo. So until then, thank you very much for spending some of your time with me. I do hope I've inspired you a little bit, or at least made you smile. Who knows? Until I see you again, do take care of yourselves, and hopefully I will see you very soon. So bye for now.